Can you hear me okay, Mr. Swanson?
I can, Your Honor.
All right. Is your client there in the car with you?
Nope, she should be calling in.
I'm here.
Nope, there we go.
Oh, okay. And what's your name, ma'am?
Paula Mumi.
All right, this is case number 2012342 FH, People versus Paula Sue Mumi. This case is set for a plea today. Is that correct, Mr. Swanson?
That is correct.
All right. And Ms. Mumi, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear, oath, or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stay, would you put the plea agreement on the record, please?
Defendant will enter a guilty plea to count 1 and count 2. People will move to dismiss counts 3 through 5. People calculate the guidelines at 0 to 17 months on the minimum. The people would cap at 150 days. Agree not to bring home invasion or B&E with intent charges, and it would be restitution on all counts.
Has the prosecutor accurately stated the plea agreement, Mr. Swanson?
He has, Your Honor.
Is that the agreement that you agreed to, Ms. Mumi?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the charge that you're entering a plea of guilty to reads as follows: that on or about November 30th, 2019, you were in Wilcox Township, Nuevo County, State of Michigan, count 1, assault with a dangerous weapon, that you did make an assault upon Sean Mumi with a dangerous weapon, to it a hammer, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. This is a felony which carries up to 4 years in prison and/or $2,000 fine plus cost. DNA would have been taken upon your arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed if the assault was committed in place of confinement. Do you understand count 1 and the maximum penalty?
Yes, sir.
Count 2, same date, same location, same charge, that you did make an assault upon Kimberly Heather with a dangerous weapon, to it a hammer, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. Again, this is a felony which carries up to 4 years in prison and/or $2,000 fine plus cost. DNA would have been taken upon your arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed if the assault was committed in place of confinement. You understand count 2 and the maximum penalty.
Yes, sir.
Counts 3 and 4, which are identical, assault with a dangerous weapon charges involving a knife. Same 2 victims are being dismissed, as is a malicious destruction of property, a 1-year misdemeanor. Is that your understanding of how the charges are going to work out?
Yes, sir.
All right. And there's been a sentence agreement in this case that you'd be sentenced according to the advisory guidelines, which the prosecutor scored at 0 to 17 months. He may be right, he may be high, or may be low, but as long as 150 days falls within the range of the guidelines as I score them at the time of sentencing, you have an agreement that you would serve no more than 150 days in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And also, the prosecutor agreed not to bring additional charges out of this incident. Is that your complete understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to consult with Mr. Swanson about all your original charges and this plea agreement?
Yes, sir, I have.
Subject to the plea agreement, how do you wish to plead to these 2 charges of felonious assault?
Guilty, sir.
Do you understand that if I accept your guilty plea, that you're giving up the right to have a trial of any kind?
Yes, sir, I do.
You also understand that by entering the guilty plea, that you're giving up certain constitutional rights that you would have at trial. Have you read a written advice of rights form that the court sent to you?
Yes, I have.
Did you understand that document?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions at all about the constitutional rights that you're giving up by entering these guilty pleas?
No, sir, I don't.
All right, and Mr. Swanson, will you get that document from your client and submit it to the court so we can have it in our file?
We will, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Mumi, has anyone threatened you to get you to make this plea?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you an outcome different than what we've covered in court today?
No, sir.
Are you entering this plea of your own free will and free choice?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand if I accept your guilty pleas that you'd be giving up the right to later claim that the pleas were the result of promises, threats, or inducements that you don't tell me about today?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you're giving up the right to appeal any appealable issues you would have if you went to trial and you were convicted?
Yes, I do.
You understand that you're giving up the right to appeal these convictions, and if you wish to file an appeal, it would be by application for leave to appeal in the Court of Appeals.
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you're on probation or parole, a conviction in this case could subject to additional penalties in that case.
Yes, I do.
You understand that I'm not bound by this plea agreement, but if I don't go along with it, you can withdraw your plea.
Yes, sir.
You now give up your right to have a trial of any kind and all the constitutional rights that you would have at that trial and affirm your guilty plea.
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it true then that back on November 30th, 2019, you were in Wilcox Township, Nuevo County, state of Michigan?
Yes.
Where were you in Wilcox Township?
Where was I? Was that the question?
Yes, where were you in Wilcox Township?
I was at my husband and I's property, north of Lake Cloud.
Okay. And was there an altercation between you and Sean Mumi?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a hammer?
Yes, I did.
What did you do with the hammer?
I held it out and started swinging.
Okay. You were swinging it at him?
Yes.
You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever hit him with the hammer?
Yes, I believe I did.
All right. And were you doing that because you were angry and not acting in self-defense?
Yes, sir. Both, actually.
Well, if you were acting in self-defense, then I probably shouldn't be taking your guilty plea.
Well, it was self-defense after the fact.
Okay. So at the time that you were swinging the hammer at Mr. Mumi,
It was an anger.
did you have an honest and reasonable fear that he was going to strike you, or were you doing it because you were mad?
I was mad, yes, sir.
Okay. And then this Kimberly Heather, how was she involved in this whole situation?
I walked into the camper and I found her in bed with my husband.
Okay. All right. Did you do something with the hammer towards Ms. Heather?
I just swung the hammer. It wasn't directly towards her, but I guess I hit her. She was right in the same area.
I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you actually hit her with the hammer too?
I didn't know that at first, but I was told that I did, yes.
Okay. And was she and your husband in the bed when you were swinging this hammer, or were they up on their feet?
She was still sitting on the bed. My husband was on his feet.
Okay. So you caught them in bed together and just kind of went crazy and started swinging the hammer. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions, Mr. Stay?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Were there any promises, threats, or inducements which have not been stated on the record to Mr. Stay?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Swanson?
There are none.
Is the defendant competent to enter these pleas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Has the court complied with MCR 6.302?
You have, Your Honor.
The court has.
All right, the court does accept the pleas. I do find them to be knowing, understanding, voluntary, and accurate. I agree to be bound by the terms unless the pre-sentence investigation report reveals something I'm not aware of. I'm going to refer you to probation and parole for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report. I'm going to set your sentencing for October 27th at 9:10 in the morning. And Mr. Zurup is here in court. He's going to gather some information from you, Ms. Mumi, so he can prepare a pre-sentence investigation report.
Okay.
Ms. Mooney, my name is Bill. I'm from the probation office. Can you tell me your
Hi.
cell phone number, please?
231-301-2981.
Okay, I need to meet with you tomorrow afternoon at my office at 1 p.m. in White Cloud.
Okay. And where
My
are you
office,
located?
1018 Newell Street
Okay.
in White Cloud.
Okay.
It's directly across the parking lot from the courthouse.
Okay.
So I'll see you there tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
That's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay, Mr. Nolan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is case number 2012501 FH, People versus Christy Lynn Fitzgerald. Are you Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this case is set for a pretrial conference today. Is this going to be a plea, Mr. Nolan?
I have not conducted any type of pretrial with the prosecutor yet on this.
All right, Mr. Stay, was there a plea offer made?
The offer was for the defendant to plead his charge, cap at the midpoint of the guidelines, which people call for 0 to 22 months on the minimum. But I'd be happy to speak with Mr. Nolan if the court wanted to reset it.
All right, was that offer conveyed in writing at a
It was,
preliminary
Your
exam conference?
Your Honor, I received a pink slip and it's illegible. I can't even read it. If he looks at the copy that was sent me, I can't read that. I have no idea what that says.
Okay, well, the offer is to plead guilty as charged. Midpoint of the guidelines, he scored him 0 to 22, so that would make, if he actually scored the guidelines, it would be an 11-month cap.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor, I do have one other request as part of the agreement. I'd ask for a little bit of a delay of sentence because my client's been accepted to Our Hope. And I told her not to enroll in there and they can take her immediately. If you look at her record, I mean, it's all drugs. It's all because of drugs. And Our Hope is a really highly respected program in Grand Rapids. And she can start immediately. I told her not to start because we needed to be in court today. But if the court could delay sentence, I'd like to see her have the opportunity to get treatment before she starts her sentence.
Is Our Hope an inpatient treatment program?
Yes, it is. You live right there at our Hope. I'm very familiar with it, Your Honor.
And how long is the program that she's been accepted into?
6 months. I mean, it's a very serious program for women. Women only.
All right, is there any prohibition to people being in the program that have been sentenced?
Or how I mean by that.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
All right,
I mean, if you wanted to set a sentence, I could have her, as long as you don't have an objection to her enrolling in there. And certainly she'd be able to talk to a probation agent from that place. I mean, they're very cooperative with the courts.
okay. Mr. Stay, you familiar with the program? or
I'm
do you-
not, I'm looking at it right now. They have a website.
Okay,
That's a good start. I don't doubt Mr. Nolan, or,
Yeah,
What,
Judge, I'm really,
what's
really
the site?
familiar with Our Hope. It's a pretty heavy-duty program in Grand Rapids, and it's strictly for women. And what I find, it's for women where my client is exactly what they take at Our Hope.
okay.
They
All right,
take tough
Agent
cases.
Syrup or Agent Wrestler, are you familiar with Our Hope?
No, Your Honor, I'm not. I have heard of it before, but I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. All right, I guess what I would think, Mr. Nolan, is that I would give a sentencing date for October 27th. And if they work well with courts, she could probably Zoom in or call in for the time of sentencing. And depending on what the court sentences her to, I mean, she may have to turn herself into jail, or she may be allowed to continue serving in the program. I just don't know that much about Ms. Fitzgerald, although I think I may have prosecuted her a time or two, but there's nothing listed in here that I can tell what her record is, but the name is familiar, I would say.
I will say this, Your Honor, she has a long history with alcohol and drugs, and that's exactly who Our Hope caters to. So she
Okay.
found the right program for her. They deal with the really tough cases and the really long-term problems.
Okay. So I guess that's the understanding, that she would be, that she could enroll in that program. She could serve in that program, at least through sentencing. At sentencing, I would make a determination whether she would be required to report to jail or she could continue in that inpatient treatment program.
Yes, and I can get an up-to-date report probably from Our Hope at the time of sentence, see how, telling the court how she's doing.
All right. So with that understanding, does your client wish to enter a guilty plea according to the plea agreement?
She does, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have to get a little closer to pull your face.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Fitzgerald, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear, oath, or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the plea agreement in this case is that you're going to plead guilty to a charge that reads on or about July 21st, 2020, that you were in Denver Township, Nuevo County, state of Michigan, and that you committed the crime of possession of heroin, and that you did knowingly or intentionally possess less than 25 grams of a mixture containing the controlled substance heroin. This is a felony which carries up to 4 years in prison and/or $25,000 fine plus cost, and unless sentenced to more than 1 year in prison, the court shall impose license sanctions. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, they put you on notice that you have at least one prior drug offense, and that was for use of marijuana on or about September 17th, 2009. Do you have that conviction, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Therefore, upon conviction, you may be subject to an enhanced sentence, I could choose to increase the maximum penalty from 4 years to 8 years, the fine from 25,000 to 50,000, and I could also choose to double your advisory guidelines. Do you understand how a double drug offender could increase your maximum penalties?
Yes, Your Honor.
In terms of incarceration, the agreement is that you would serve no more than midpoint of the scoring of the guidelines. The prosecutor scored them at 0 to 22. He may be right, he may be high, or it may be low. But however I score the guidelines at the time of sentencing, your agreement is that you would serve no more than half of that. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if the guidelines come back to be 0 to 12, you would have an agreement of no more than 6 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if they come back, 18 months to 36 months, your agreement is that you would serve no more than 27 months. Do you understand that? And that would be a prison sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Unless I sentence you to prison, you're likely to be placed on probation for up to a couple years. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your complete understanding of the plea agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Subject to the plea agreement, how do you wish to plead to possession of heroin, being a second offense drug offender?
Guilty.
Do you understand that if I accept your guilty plea, that you'd be giving up your right to have a trial of any kind?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also understand that by entering a guilty plea, that you'd be giving up certain constitutional rights that you would have at trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you gone over or read a felony advice of rights form with your attorney that the court supplied?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about the constitutional rights that you're giving up by entering this guilty plea?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Nolan, would you make sure that you get to the court a signed copy of that advice of rights form?
I will.
All right. And Ms. Fitzgerald, has anyone threatened you to get you to make this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what we've covered in court today?
No, Your Honor.
Are you entering this plea of your own free will and free choice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I accept your guilty plea, that you're giving up the right to later claim that the plea was the result of any promises, threats, or inducements that you don't tell me about now?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that if I accept this plea, you're giving up the right to appeal any appealable issues you would have if you went to trial and you were convicted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that you're giving up the right to appeal this conviction? And if you wish to file an appeal, it would be by application for leave to appeal in the Court of Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you're on probation or parole, a conviction in this case may subject you to additional penalties in that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you currently on probation or parole?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which one?
Probation,
Out of what county?
Muskegon County.
I'm representing her here too, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you understand that I'm not bound by this plea agreement, but if I don't go along with it, you can withdraw your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you now give up your right to have a trial of any kind and all the constitutional rights that you would have at trial and affirm your guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty or for some other reason?
Because I'm guilty.
Is it true then that back on July 21st, 2020, you were in Denver Township, Newaygo County, state of Michigan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where were you in Denver Township?
Hesperia, Michigan.
I'm sorry?
In Hesperia.
Okay. Were you in a car or were you at a house?
I was in my car.
Were you stopped by the police?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the police find some heroin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where was the heroin located?
In my mother-in-law's purse?
In your mother-in-law's purse?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Was that your heroin that was in her purse?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you put it in her purse when you got stopped by the police, thinking maybe the police wouldn't search your mother-in-law's purse?
I handed it to her, I told her to hide it, she put it in her purse.
Say that again?
I handed it to her and told her to hide it, she put it in her purse.
She handed it to her mother-in-law and asked her to hide it, and her mother-in-law put it in her purse.
Okay, all right. And how much heroin did you have?
$5 worth,
Where'd you get it?
my sister.
All right, and you've previously indicated you have at least one prior drug conviction, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Are the attorneys aware of any promises, threats, or inducements which have not been stated on the record?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Is the defendant competent to enter this plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has the court complied with MCR 6.302?
You have, Your Honor.
Court has, Judge.
All right, the court does accept the plea. I do find it knowing, understanding, voluntary, and accurate. I agree to be bound by the terms unless the pre-sentence investigation report reveals something I'm not aware of. I'm going to refer you to probation parole for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report. I will set your sentencing for October 27th at 9:20 in the morning.
Oh, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I forgot. I am out of state that whole week. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, the week of the 23rd to the 30th.
All right?
Do Tuesday, November 3rd at 9:20,
Tuesday, November 3rd at
9:20.
9:20.
I'll be ready. Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Zerp is going to gather some information from Ms. Fitzgerald about getting the pre-sentence report done.
Ms. Fitzgerald, my name is Bill, and I need to meet with you at my office tomorrow, Tuesday at 1 p.m. in White Cloud. What is your phone number?
313-733-9931.
Okay, do you know where the probation office is in White Cloud?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I will meet you there tomorrow at 1 p.m., okay?
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
All right, so you tell our Hope you can go there. Am I excused, Your Honor?
Yep, that's all, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so you tell our Hope.
You can stop the live stream for just a sec.